Good afternoon, and you find me putting together two videos covering my favourite 12 images of the year, and this year I will be putting them up as bonus videos midweek rather than as main videos, so they will go up on Wednesdays, all being well, one on the 25th of December and one on the 1st of January. So yeah, what I will do is, if I've got suitable video from when I actually captured the image, I'll put that up before I get into describing the actual image and why I like it so much. So yeah, we'll head on into January. Right, as you can see, I've managed to get round to the main waterfall, which is what did I say it was? Ashgill Falls. You can see the bridge up there. That's where the road is. That so the van is probably just up there. But the path, I had to go right along there and round, and then down there and work up this ravine. So what I'm going to do, I'm just not quite. The plan is to have a mooch around, come up with some compositions. Not quite sure where we're going to go at the moment, and then get some images and then slowly work downstream, because there are quite a few little waterfalls, cascades that are probably worth capturing as well. So yeah, we'll have a mooch around, we'll find some good compositions, and then we'll either put them up or we may vlog those as well. So whatever happens, we'll see you a little bit later. Right, so here we are in January, and we went to Ashgill Falls. Now, this is somewhere I'd never actually been to before. It's in the Pennines, and it's not too far out of Ulston. As you head out of Ulston, it's classed as Gargill, but yeah, it was an interesting place. Looking back, I didn't realise it was January I actually went. I thought it was when it was a bit brighter and that, but no, it was January, and you could quite easily miss it. You can just see at the top there, that's a bridge that takes the road over the river, and then just there's the falls coming down, and you can actually walk, and I did take one image. You can actually get behind the falls there. There's as you can see, there's a bit of a ledge, and it's just almost a magical place. And yeah, the light wasn't very good. I'll have to go back sometime in the spring, summertime, and hopefully get some better images. But I quite like this one. I mean, obviously you can see, if we look up there, it's half a second, and it's f8, and I've actually had to up the ISO to 800, which means it's obviously pretty dark. Normally, to get half a second when the light's reasonable, you put in a neutral density filter on to get that, but obviously it was dark, so I was having to up the ISO. But I just like that the strings on the water comes over here, and then it bends round, and that, and if we just go, we'll just show you, if we go to the develop mode and we go to, is it that one? Yeah, so if we go to what we would have done in landscape, that's it with the colour, but all the colours are fairly muted. They're all of a similar sort of brown colour, and I just felt that, yeah, although it is very nice, I just felt that the black and white just gave it a bit more punch, etc. So yeah. So that's, we've got the spinning ball. Hopefully that's not going to do anything nasty. But yeah, that's January, and then we'll see you in February.
I might just get my camera out and do it handheld. I'm not doing lazy photography. Yep. That's all I'm going to say. It's not worth it for the tripod though. It's not.
Right. Well, at the back end of February, I went to Iceland on a workshop and got a lot of images. But this one here, I just really like. I'm afraid the video was fairly short. I do find it very difficult on workshops when there's other people about to get distracted and don't want to inconvenience them. So often I don't get an awful lot of video, but you got an idea of the scene where this was taken. And it's not perfect. It would be more perfect if the mountain was slightly more to the right, so that the road sort of met in the middle of the mountain. But I've always liked images like this of looking down a long straight road with something significant in the background there, and this was just one of those. They can be quite difficult depending on the amount of traffic, so we were dodging in and out of the middle of the road as and when vehicles came. I mean, it wasn't too bad. There wasn't masses of vehicles, so this would be a handheld image that you'd come in, get your have everything set up, get your image, and then, or a number of images, and then if there was a car coming, you'd come off. We'd parked on the left hand side here, and there was 3 of us, so yeah. But I have tried this sort of image before, and I've never quite got one that I liked. And I just like this. You've got the road, you've got bits of snow down the side, you've got snow on the mountains there, and you've got a moody sky, and yeah, I just really like this one. So yeah, so that's February, and we'll see you in March. Right, and we're now in March, and I did forget to say I will possibly put up in the top corner here links to the relevant videos about the trips when these images were captured. But this one I think is just a brilliant image. Now the video, or the short video you've seen before this, was taken 2 or 3 days before this image was taken. We'd come to this waterfall during daylight to capture images of it, and it's quite an interesting one. You've got you've got a narrow canyon gorge or whatever, and then it widened out and the water coming over in various places. So yeah, it's a very interesting one. It was the first time I'd been to this particular waterfall on this trip to Iceland. I have been to Iceland before, but never to this particular waterfall. But on this night, as we were going back to our accommodation, we saw that the aurora was kicking off, and this seemed quite a good place to go. So we came here, and as far as I remember, obviously it's very dark, so we were using head torches, or I've got is it a lumen cube or whatever, and I was just lighting the foreground to light that up so you can see the waterfall and the stream stroke river, and then obviously we can see the aurora at the back. I mean, as you can see, it was fairly wide open at f4, which on this particular lens, that's fully open, fairly high, so 32,015 of a second, which yeah, it's done quite well, because the stars you can see still very much spots. They are starting to streak a bit, but sometimes they can streak even more. But yeah, no, it's Aurora pictures are nice, and there is one a little later. But depending on how pretty, for want of a way of putting the Aurora is, and this isn't over pretty, but you've got the greens, you've got it nice. You need a sort of good foreground as well to go with it. If you just had just the sky there, yeah, it would be. I mean, yeah, if I don't know whether, yeah, you can see if I just did it. Nah, it's all right, but it's pretty boring. So you need a good foreground, and this is an excellent one. And as I say, this is I think a brilliant image. So that finishes March, and we'll see you in April. Right, well, we've made it to the pier at the end of the beach. We may not get much elsewhere today, because I think by the time I've walked all the way back to Seaton Sluice and captured some images there and got back to the van, there may not be a huge amount of time left, but it's been a good day. So here we are at the pier, actually under the pier, and I have taken a couple of images. One is more or less what you see now, looking down under the pier. Now that was a bracketed image because of the high dynamic range, and I've just got the camera, you'll see where it's set up there, just looking out to the lighthouse and the pier there. This is where the boats can come in to come to Blythe Port. I think, now I'm not quite sure, I don't know whether that's the River Wansbeck that actually then flows out into the sea at Blythe, so don't know, but we're going to have a wander around. I did see some people walking on the pier, so it looks as though you can actually go down it. So once we've finished here, we'll maybe go up onto the top, see what we can see. So yeah, it's a very nice day. It's not particularly warm, a little bit cool at times, but yeah, so hopefully they're just a bit something different, particularly the one looking out there. So yeah, any that are any good we'll put up on the video, and then we'll be heading back towards Seaton Sluice. And I think on the way back I'll have the camera out round my neck, so I may do some handheld shots of anything I see on the way. So yeah, anyway, we'll see you a little bit later. Right, so we now find ourselves in April, and in April I go to a monthly meeting, or normally go to a monthly meeting in Gateshead, which is an evening meeting. So this particular weekend, this month, this Saturday in April, I actually got over early and went to St Mary's Lighthouse at Whitley Bay for sunrise, and then worked my way up to Seaton Sluice and walked up to Blythe Harbour. And this image is taken under the pier. You can see the pier is above the beach. There's the two piers where the river comes into the harbour there. So this is the south pier. It goes straight and then it bends round there, and there you can just see a bit of the north pier. But being able to walk under and just looking down, I do like images like this that as much as possible are symmetrical. Certainly the pier is symmetrical, and everything just disappearing off into the distance. So yeah, and the colour's so nice, and that there's a bit of whatever there, but never mind. But yeah, it's just a wonderful image. It just I don't know, it just draws you into this wonderful word, hole at the end. So yeah, it's and it was a nice day, and it's not far from where we used to live when we first married. We lived in Ashington, and I don't ever remember coming here, but yeah, I just had I'd got me images at sunrise. I went to Seaton Sluice, and things weren't quite as I'd hoped in terms of light and tide level. So I walked along the beach from there to Blythe, not knowing what I would find, and I found this. That was a really brilliant day. So yeah, I just love this images. It's one of my favourite images. So yeah, that was April, and we'll see you in May. Right, this is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that particularly well. It's very dark, so it's very difficult to video anything. But that is one of the images on the back of the camera. I don't know how it looks a bit bright on the screen here, but that is just absolutely phenomenal. At St John's Church, the spire, going up to the northern lights in the sky. I am just absolutely amazed. Absolutely. I'm going to continue taking images, and there won't be much video, but I'll be putting the images up, and it's the screen gone off. I'll put the images up after this, and maybe we'll have a wander somewhere else. This is just absolutely phenomenal and amazing, so we'll catch you a little bit later. Right, and you find us now in May, and there was an aurora warning that I got out and that I received, and I wasn't convinced it was going to amount to much. So I was umming and ahhing, then I did decide to go out, and I thought I'd go down to the lake. And as I was going past, this is only a couple of minutes walk from home, past the church, it was really kicking off. So I actually captured the image there. Sorry that the bit of video is fairly pathetic. Obviously it was very dark, so I couldn't video the sky, but it gives you the sense of how I was feeling about what I was seeing at the time. I mean, this aurora with the different colours, the greens, the purples, the pinks, maybe slightly yellows, is just stunning. And similar to the aurora from Iceland, we've obviously upped the ISO 3200, got the lens fully open f4, and it's fully open as in focal length as well. It's as wide as it can go, and we've got a 4-second image there, and you can see that the stars on this one are definite dots, whereas on the Iceland one they were starting to turn into streaks. But yeah, it was a phenomenal evening. About a month later we had another aurora warning, and that one I took a bit more serious, and I thought, right, I'm going to what I think is a good place, which I went to, and it did kick off as well, so I got some images there. But that one, the aurora was nice, but it was nowhere near like this. I mean, this is it's obviously above, and you get the colours and that, whereas that was just green and red and a little bit more plain. This was phenomenal. It would have been even better if I'd taken it more seriously and thought of a good place to go, because I mean, this was taken at, what was it, about getting on for 11:30, so I did wander down. After I'd taken some images, I did wander down to the lake, but by the time I got to the lake, it was waning and that. So, but yeah, this is one of my favourite aurora images that I've got. So yeah, so that covers May, and we'll see you in June. Right, I'll have to raise my voice so you can hear me, because the waterfall's quite noisy. But we've come to the last one for this video, which is Curragh Force, and to me it's one of the best ones, although I'm on this rock here in the middle of the river, and I did struggle because I think when I've been before there's been less water and easier to get across, but I did manage to get across. I've just got to get safely back across with the camera. So I've just taken a straightforward image at various speeds, bracketed because of the high dynamic range with the darkness and the brightness of the sky. So we'll see what happens with those. We'll put the best one up and we'll see you a little bit later. Alright, and that brings us to June. And in June I had a trip out to the Yorkshire Dales, a day out there, and I went to Keld, which is on the River Swale, the top end of the River Swale. And I went to try and capture images at all the waterfalls around there. And I'm trying to remember, there's about 7 or 8 different sets of falls. And this is my favourite of the falls, and this is Curragh Force. It's not an obvious one to get to. It's not easy to find. It's a bit off the beaten track. It is marked on the map, but then you think, how do I get to it? But and it is. Although you can see it's a very sunny, bright day, we are in a bit of a canyon here. The river's up there, then comes down, and this is a bit of a canyon, a gorge, etc. So you can see, if we look at the settings, we'll set it at f9, and we've done 1/4 of a second, and to get those, we've just had to up the ISO slightly. But having said that, having checked, I have actually got, because that's only a minor alteration, I have got a 6-stop ND filter on. So yeah, it was very bright. It is it is quite difficult. I've just realised that you can see this is a HDR, so it is a blend of 3 images. Because obviously it is extremely bright at the top here and it's very dark at the bottom, and I'm trying to think how Lightroom does it. Sometimes you end up with I think that's the slowest speed or the quickest, I can't remember. It's not the one of the middle. I'd forgotten this was a blended or HDR image, but I really like this waterfall. And when you see that there's this stack sticking out from the main waterfall here, and you can see the water splashing, and although it's 1/4 of a second, you can still see the water splashing around, and the light catching and glistening off the bits of water. To me, it's a place I love. This waterfall, it's one of my. I like waterfalls anyway. I mean, there's ones in the lakes where the just big cascades on some of the banks, and yeah, you can get good images. But this is a substantial one, and you can see that the brown, the peaty colour of the water, and it's just well worth a visit. All the waterfalls around Keld, well, yeah, they're all well worth visiting, and some of them are more awesome than others, and this is, to me, one of the better ones. There are some that, yeah, they're all different, but this image is just brilliant. And for any photographers, it's Keld and the waterfalls around it are well worth a visit. So yeah, so that brings us to the end of June. Right, so that brings us to the end of the first 6 months, and I'm going to stop the video there, but I would just like to remind everybody, if you've actually enjoyed the video, please click the thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. It does help the channel greatly. And if you've got any comments about anything to do with landscape photography, the areas covered here, about the individual pictures, please do comment. It is much appreciated. So yeah, I think I will put, hopefully I'll have put links in the video about where you can get the videos about these individual, the full videos on the trips where these images were captured, and I will put all the links in the description below as well. So I'm not quite sure, I have put links in videos before, but I'm not quite sure how many links you can actually put in, whether I can put 6 links in or not. So yeah, anyway, we'll end it there and we'll see you on the next video.